We're gonna get it cracking here in just a second, man. What's up, Prince of Moon? Yeah. The energy is most definitely crazy in the world. And in case y'all didn't get the memo, I didn't make it last night. I know Halloween is over, but today is the day of the dead. And I wasn't gonna miss work. I only saw one way out. And I take my hat off to you. Oh, this energy is crazy. But I wasn't even gonna let death stop me from fucking with y'all today. Give it a few more minutes, let a few more people tune in. Say, man, if you here, you should have already hit the like button, man. Anything else would be completely uncivilized. No, Halloween was yesterday. Today is the day of the dead. And even though they killed me last night, I wasn't gonna let it stop me from being here for y'all today. We got a lot going on cosmically too, man. I mean, a lot. Let me see what we got going on. We got the sun at about 9 degrees of Scorpio today. We got the moon at about 25 degrees of Virgo, but it's gonna go void of course here in an hour or two. And that's a whole different energy in itself. We got Mercury at like 23 degrees of Libra today. We got Venus at 26 degrees of Capricorn today. We got Mars at 1 degrees of Scorpio today. So we killing them. Yeah. We got Jupiter at 22 degrees of Pisces today. We got Saturn at 7 degrees of Aquarius today. Did I say Jupiter at 22 degrees of Pisces? It's Jupiter at 22 degrees of Aquarius. I was wrong. My Jupiter's at 22 degrees of Pisces. I'm fucking up. We got Uranus at 12 degrees of Taurus today. We got Neptune at 20 degrees of Pisces today. We got Pluto at 24 degrees of Capricorn today. Chiron is at 9 degrees of Aries today. We We got Lilith at 13 degrees of Gemini today, exactly conjunct my natal black moon Lilith. We have the nodes at 1 degrees of Gemini and Sagittarius, respectively. And anybody that were born right now, at this minute, right now, today, they would be a Scorpio sun. They'd be a Virgo moon. And depending on where they're living, but from where I'm at right now, I think they'd be a Sagittarius or Capricorn rising. Yeah, I stay on point cosmically. Yes, sir. What's up, Rachel? What's up, Glam Diva? What's up, Ember? What's up, Starseed? Life on Pluto? What it was? Hey, let me tell y'all something, man. We got Mars in Scorpio now, man. Don't get caught lacking. Don't get caught up lying. Because this ain't the type of energy where anybody gonna want to beat you up. This ain't the type of energy where they just gonna want to yell at you. This the type of energy that just might get you killed. Yeah. It's going on like that out here. Ain't nobody playing games out here, man. We have Mars in Scorpio. Hey, man. For this next month or two right here, shit's gonna be very, very interesting. We have some very, very, very dark energy coming into play. I mean, think about it right now. We got Mars in Scorpio. We got the Sun in Scorpio. Here on the 4th, we have the new moon in Scorpio. Oh, that's gonna be powerful. Just dark and powerful as can be. Here on the 5th, we'll have Venus moving into Capricorn, where it's gonna be until freaking March, because it's gonna go retrograde on December 19th and do it all over again. So, hey, man. And then also on the 5th, here later on this week, we got Mercury moving into Scorpio with Mars and the Sun. So on the 5th of November, the moon, the Sun, the moon, Mercury, and Mars will all be in Scorpio. Hey, you better not be out here lying. What's done in the dark, it's gonna come to the light. And I know that's so cliche, but that's so true too. If you live in foul, it's time. Hey, not to mention, I just thought about this. We got the lunar eclipse coming up in Taurus on the 19th of this month, man. So, hey, y'all better be on point, man. Because they say that it's always darkest before the dawn. And it looks like shit's about to get real dark before we hit Sagittarius season. For real. And some of us, like myself, we thrive in the darkness. See, this Mars right now we got is conjunct my Pluto in my first house. And I feel it. Yeah. They almost tried to take me out the game, man. I don't want to stick the hole in my head, but yeah. Niggas out here fucked up. But like I said, not even death could stop me. See, I am the darkness. Right on cue. Hey, if y'all here and y'all ain't hit the like button, you out of line. Matter of fact, you borderline disrespectful. We just getting started, man. We're gonna be here for at least 2 hours. Y'all got questions? I got answers. I'm just chilling, man. What we got going on today, though? What we got going on today, Cosmic? Let's see. We got the sun at 9 degrees of Scorpio, square Saturn still at 7 degrees of Aquarius. And I saw somebody try to speak on us being away from the sun square Saturn aspect, and we're not. Not probably for another day or two. And hey, man, it's nothing to be worried about. That right here is just going to add a little seriousness to our demeanor. And, you know, it's going to implore us to be a little bit more responsible, because with Saturn, there's always going to be the possibility of us having to learn the hard way. Okay? And if we can avoid that's always the best thing to do. And if you want to look at it like that, you also got Saturn, which is in 7 degrees of Aquarius, is sextile to Chiron at 7 degrees of Aries. And hey, 9 degrees of Aries. I was wrong about that. Yeah, 9 degrees of Aries with Chiron. But hey, that just says, in my opinion, that, you know, we need to be our own authority. When I see that with Saturn being sextile to Chiron, you need to be your own authority, man. You know, you need to check yourself. Okay? You don't need nobody else to tell you what to do. You just need to put your head down and find healing. Because it's within you. And if you're willing to work for it, it's there. Saturn is work. Aries is you. Alright. What else we got going on? For these next few hours, we got what? We got the moon is going to be square to Venus, but also trine to Pluto for these next few hours, man. And then it's going to go void of course after that. So what that would say, really that could mean all kinds of shit, to be honest with you. But more than anything else, it just speaks of emotions and power and money and control and the confusion that comes from such a potent mix, and then the numbness that comes from that void of course thereafter. And a lot of people don't talk on void of courses a lot. But I also know that a lot of astrologers don't make a lot of decisions during void of courses. A lot of people kind of like to take a step back when the moon is void of course. And all that moon of void of course means, it doesn't mean that it's in between signs. What's up, Shanti? What's up, SR Ranch? What does that say? Senior Runch. But void of course doesn't mean that it's in between signs. No, the moon is still in Virgo. What it is the moon has cleared all of the aspects, the major aspects that it has while it's in Virgo. And so it's kind of lost in translation until it starts making aspects in the Libra sign, which it'll go into Libra this evening. So yeah, void of course is interesting. And it just kind of leaves everybody kind of not knowing where to feel, how to feel. And then when it comes into Libra, when it's void of course between Virgo and Libra, that's confusing in itself, because then you're looking for somebody else to tell you how to feel. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what can you do? I can't feel nothing. I'm dead. But it is the días de las muertes. It is the day of the dead. And I don't lose. What's up, Mercedes Ross? What else we got going on, man? Speaking of Pluto. Today, We got Mercury square to Pluto and trine to Jupiter. And hey, man, that could go two ways right there, okay? Because you really have two opposite ends of the spectrum with this one, okay? Because on one hand, you know, it's gonna really implore us to want to find out what the fuck is really going on in a big way. Because that laser focus could really bring us some positive insight and wisdom with Jupiter and Pluto and all that. But the other side of that coin is when you got Mercury, Jupiter, and Pluto, or Hermes and Zeus and Hades all fucking around, hanging out together, man, that could breed exaggeration, that could breed manipulation, that could breed sarcasm, bullshit, lies, and nastiness. So it's just once again a classic case of what you do with it is what you do with it, because it ain't got to affect you at all, because just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. You feel me? We all have all this energy available to us. I was just talking about what's going on cosmically, okay? That doesn't mean what's going on with you personally, because you got to look at all these placements that are going on and see what's going on with you inside of yourself, right? But I will say this. This is some really deep, dark, dangerous energy going on for these next few weeks. Don't be out here playing with folks' emotions, right? And also, don't allow yourself to be triggered in the worst way. Because, let me tell you something about people, man. And after I tell y'all this, I'm gonna take questions. So if y'all have any questions for me about what you got going on in your natal chart or any aspects like that, I'm gonna be here vibing with you, answering questions, chilling for the next hour or two. But you know, stop giving people free money. And I've told y'all this before. And what I mean is, let me turn this down. What I mean is, stop allowing people to press your buttons and get a reaction out of you. All right? Because that gives them control over you. That gives them a power over you. You know, it's like an ATM machine, right? Say you walking by and you see somebody not put a card in the ATM machine. You see them just press a button and some money comes out, right? This money comes out, and then they come up to you and tell you like, hey, man, all you got to do is press 3 times on that machine and it'll shoot $100 bills out, right? And so, what you gonna do? As soon as you sure nobody paying attention, you gonna go over there, you're gonna press that button, get that free money. And every time you get a chance or you get to a bar or whatever's happening, depending on what type of person you are, you're gonna go press that button and get that free money. You're gonna press that button and get that free money. You're gonna press that button and get that free money, right? Right? Everything good and while it's good. But the second you go there and you try it and that shit don't work, the second or third time that you try it and that shit don't work out for you, you're not gonna fuck with that shit no more, because 1, somebody's paying attention now. 2, you're not getting free money anymore. It's no use. And it's the same thing with you emotionally. Don't let people trigger you. As long as they can get that free money out of you, as long as they can press your buttons, they're gonna keep getting it. They're gonna keep pressing your buttons. They always gonna have that control over you. They know what to do to make you react in a certain way. So yes, they do control you in a certain sense. All right? They have a power over how you conduct yourself. If you allow somebody to come into your life and fuck up your day for no reason, they control you. They might as well came in there and told you to bark and you barked. You feel me? I don't think y'all hear me though. The minute you stop giving them free money, they'll leave you alone. They'll stop pressing that button. The minute they stop getting that reaction out of you, shit'll make so much more sense and be so better for you, man. Stop letting people get a reaction out of you. Stop allowing shit to trigger you. People always talk about trigger warning, trigger, man. It's only a trigger because you allow it to be a trigger. Everything, people, events, you, emotions, You're allowing it to trigger you. That's why I always tell y'all, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. All right? Just because you're an emotional person doesn't mean you have to act an ass every time something doesn't go your way. Just because you're an overthinker doesn't mean you got to treat everybody like shit because one person broke your trust. No. Look at me. I mean, motherfuckers killed me. I'm smiling. I'm back at work the next day. Everything good. Hell, I tried to clean myself up. That's why I was a few minutes late, but I couldn't do it. Stop allowing people to get free money from you, man. I feel pretty powerful today though. So yeah. I got the sun trying my moon today. Because my moon is at 8 degrees of Pisces. The sun is at 9 degrees of Scorpio. It's been that way for a couple of days for me. And then, what else I got going on? Like I said, I got Mars conjunct my Pluto in the first house. And yeah. I'm there. But Uranus is square to my Venus. And so I'm wondering what's going to happen with that in exact square. Nothing has to happen. It's Uranus. But, man. What the fuck? You said that. Vice versa, what's cracking? We just cooling, man. Naomi Sunnyside, what's up with it? Before anybody get it twisted, like I already said a couple of times, Halloween was yesterday, but Halloween represents All Hallows Eve, because today is the Day of the Dead. So even though I didn't really make it through last night, I'm still here for you to hear today. Alright, hold up. Senor Runch said, man, this Scorpio season is really crazy. I'm a Capricorn sun, Cancer moon, born on the school moon with Scorpio rising. And this week, man, I just suddenly started to explode with power or some shit. Any tips that on how I can control myself? Man. With that Capricorn sun and that Scorpio rising, you have all the tools you need, man. You just need to be focused. You have to find some type of outlet. You have to have something to be focused on with that. All right? Because if you allow it to, that Cancer moon will run away with your whole being. Like, that is the most powerful aspect you have going on there. Scorpio rising is awesome. Capricorn sun is awesome, but that Cancer moon, that's at home. That's at home. And you were born on that full moon cycle? Oh, what's up, Jabias? I didn't know who that was. Hey, man, whatever you feel like, homie. But, you the sleepwalker in my book, bro. And I'm the walker walker. I can't really hear that good, man. Every time I start recording, they decide they want to mow. There's no fucking grass. I'm starting to get irritated. I might need some tips on how to control myself, man. Because I have a lot of power going on. I have a lot of energy today, man. And then, you know, like Pluto is square to my nodes too. Pluto's conjunct to my transit Pluto is conjunct to my natal Mars and square to my nodes right now. You know, I really ain't even considered that. So like, I don't know, man. And then Lilith, like I said, I'm having an exact Lilith return today. Lilith is at 13 degrees of Gemini right now. And my natal black moon Lilith, like I told you how many times, is in the 8th house at 13 degrees of Gemini. So to be honest with y'all, I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling half dead, really, to be honest with you. Shanti88 said that that Pluto in the 6th house. Pardon me if I don't die, y'all. If I ain't already dead, hold on. Nah, but anyway, that Pluto in the 6th house square Mars in the 10th house, exactly opposite the Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter. And you feel like you don't have control over your emotions. Well, that Pluto in the 6th house is interesting because you try to rationalize everything with that one, and that's not always what's best for you. Now, that Mars in the 10th house, my Mars in Capricorn recognizes that completely, and you know that tells me that you should have excellent control. But with it being squared, your Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter, the thing about Jupiter is never in control. All right, Jupiter, people always get that twisted. Jupiter is good luck and all that shit, and that's beautiful. But Jupiter, it doesn't want control. Jupiter doesn't want to see boundaries. Jupiter wants to blow past control. Jupiter wants you to get as out of control as possible. And I don't know what sign your Sun and Mercury are in, but to me, it doesn't sound like it's your emotions that are the problem. It sounds like you overthinking everything, constantly rationalizing everything is probably what the root of that issue is right there, Shanti. You feel me? And then in Taurus? Yeah, to me that doesn't sound like emotions. But I could be wrong. There's other things that are going on. Where is your moon going on with that and all that shit? Because right there, that makes me think that you're overthinking. What's up, Alabama? I know what abuela is, Karen. My son is more Latin than he's anything else. Arlo Gucci, what's cracking? What about Jupiter in Leo? Jupiter in Leo is, I mean, that's beautiful. As long as you're being confident, as long as you're being optimistic and you're being a leader, because, you know, you're so freaking generous and you know, that's because you feel like you have so much to give. As long as you remember that, hey, you can only do so much. You got to know some limits sometimes with Jupiter and Leo. As long as you don't get too confident. That's beautiful, because that right there, when I see Jupiter in Leo or Jupiter in the 5th house, which is not the same thing, but I automatically start thinking of a gambler, a person that's willing to bet on themselves. And that's a blessing and a curse sometimes. Everything is awesome if it can be tempered with some moderation. Now, Shanti said, Moon in the 5th house, Virgo, conjunct Lilith and Leo in the 5th house. Yeah. You overthink everything. See, I've learned this about myself. With me being a Cancer sun, Pisces moon, and having all these watery placements, you know, it's made me learn a lot about myself emotionally. All right. And I realized that I'm very in tune with my emotions, both yours and mine. But with me having Uranus in the 3rd house, with me having Mercury and Leo, like, I overthink everything. And sometimes it's not even about overthinking. Sometimes I get so stuck in the way that I'm thinking, or I get so thinking that I'm smarter than everybody else that I miss the forest for the trees. And then it's just going in circles mentally, no matter how intelligent I am. I realize that my thoughts and my emotions run in conflict to each other. And so I've learned that I overthink everything. And when I see all those placements for you, I see a lot of mental energy. And I understand your moon is in the 5th house and Leo and your Lilith is in the 5th house. And that speaks of, you know, wanting the attention. And, you know, that also speaks of, you know, a certain attitude of like, hey, man, sometimes you can be very self-centered with that. So that's a rough big, a hard pill to swallow and a rough bag to work with, but that 5th house does make it hard to control yourself. I have my moon in the 5th house too, and that just means you be doing too much. That moon in the 5th house be doing too much, just extra. Hey, if y'all here and y'all ain't hit that like button, do that thing for me. And Star C said, how do you get a Venus in Scorpio off your tail? Been 7 years and they don't let go. You don't get a Venus in Scorpio off your tail. They don't get off your tail. You shouldn't have never involved yourself with a Venus in Scorpio if you wasn't with it until the wheels fall off. Because with them, it's death before dishonor. Yeah. You don't get a Venus in Scorpio off your tail, man. For real. Look what happened to me. Venus in Scorpio. Shanti, when you say doing too much, though, it's not really emotions. Here's the thing. Emotions rule reason. But you go to overthinking everything, and then you do some shit that's really out of tune with your emotions of what's really going on with you internally, because you done overthought the situation so much, and you didn't like you just kind of put yourself in some circles. Like all that Virgo energy, all of that intelligence is beautiful, but it's also it's also a heavy burden to carry, because you can see everything that's going on. You know how it all works, including with people's motivations. And that right there, it don't feel so comfortable all the time. And then it causes you to do things that are out of character. aNsWeRs said, any advice for Aquarius, second house moon, square, fifth house Taurus, Saturn? Yeah, man, you have to allow yourself to be comfortable, bro. Like and then when you do, sometimes you get too comfortable. Like, hey. And that also speaks of a stubbornness and getting stuck in your ways, man. You have to break out of that comfort zone if you want to, with that square right there. And that's what you're going to have to struggle with. You know, a square represents a struggle. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just represents a struggle. See, people are so weak these days that they look at a struggle. You can get your birth chart read with me. You just got to hit me up in my email at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. But I don't discuss my prices, you know, with everybody. My prices are set, and I have a menu, and I will send it to you as soon as you hit me up in my email. But I just really, you know, it's two different arenas. Oh, like there's money there too with Taurus in the second house and all that shit there, man. You just have to allow yourself to find something that you enjoy doing and be comfortable with it, man. But you know, you can't get too complacent with that energy right there. And it's just more than anything else about having fun and enjoying yourself. The king said, any advice for Cancer Moon? You gotta let the past go sometimes. With that Cancer Moon, you gotta let the past go sometimes. And no, that's another one right there, man. It's just, that Cancer Moon is rough, man. I'm a Cancer Sun, bro. I got that Pisces Moon. It's different. It's not that heavy. A Gemini Moon, like, you talk so much, like, when are you going to allow yourself to actually feel anything with that Gemini Moon? Right. I'm raising two Gemini moons. And they love to argue. But, I mean, with raising these young men that are Gemini moons in my house, like watching them, I learn about, because they both have conflicting natures, because one is a Virgo rising, Leo sun with a Gemini moon, and he's the oldest brother. And then the middle brother is a Libra sun, a Gemini moon with a Capricorn rising. And they mirror each other. It's crazy. They're like what some people call, what are they called? I forgot what they're called back in the day, like Irish twins or something. They're like exactly a year apart. You know what I mean? Exactly a year apart, to where, you know, they just grew up right there. One never knew new life without the other one. And they're Gemini moon, so they don't get along. You got a Leo and a Libra. And so it's just a very interesting dynamic. But I just feel like more than anything else, man, like Gemini moons have a problem with allowing situations or even people to tell them how they feel, when they should just allow themselves to really feel their emotions, you know. And then, yeah, Gemini moons are fun as hell, but you know, smart too, smart. But allowing themselves to intimately feel emotions is a whole different bag with that one. Now, Prince of Moon, you said, can I speak on Pluto and Scorpio in the 5th, trying the midheaven? That's about going through whatever power struggle you got to go through, dealing with whatever you have to deal with in life to get that creativity out. And, you know, allow yourself to enjoy doing that, because if you can do that and parlay that into some type of career, that's beautiful for you. I mean, that's a trine with your midheaven. Like, that's just about parlaying your creativity into something that works out favorably along your life path of life. Okay, because that's what you're meant to do. That's your midheaven. You know, that's what you're meant to do. That's the status that you need to get to if you're not there yet. So, most definitely. And then Lilith in Scorpio, 3rd house. And Pluto in Scorpio, 3rd house. All right. Here's the thing with that. See, you have Lilith in Scorpio in the 3rd house. I have Lilith in Gemini in the 8th house. So, this is interesting right here. What that tells me, first of all. What's up, Chanel? Don't be calling my government out like that. My name is Rodrigo. And plus, Roger, he didn't make it through Halloween night last night. He out of there. But yeah, let me get to this real fast. Like, with Lilith and Scorpio in the 3rd house, conjunct Pluto and Scorpio in the 3rd house, like, you just developed way faster intellectually than you did emotionally when you were a kid. And the thing is, like, you were able to see people's motives and people's intentions before you knew what motives and intentions were. And because of that, you know, it kind of made you really very pensive and very kind of reserved as a little kid. Like, you don't trust anybody. And like, also, like, the thing with Pluto and Scorpio in the 3rd house, like, you like to watch people and you judge at the same time. And you feel like everybody else does that to you, so you don't really share much. You don't really allow people in to the doorway to the senses for you. And so it's just like, you're extremely sharp mentally, but emotionally, like, it's just taking some time, and it's gonna take some struggles and for you to go through some shit for you to really develop into something that's gonna really function healthily. But yeah. The king said, you said Pluto and Scorpio in the 4th house with your north node. How do I do to just stay in the house? No, that's not what that means, man. That's just about, you know, first of all, dealing with whatever issues you had with home or your family, you know, whatever you had growing up, that really rough childhood you had growing up, or whatever issues you had with your mom, and realizing really, first of all, that your relationship with either your mom or your dad had a really stronger effect on you than you really realize. And it really affects the ways that you deal with other people. And so, yeah. Hey, Tommy. Let's just say that I didn't make it through Halloween night last night. But it's the Day of the Dead. So I still showed up to WeEk. Anyway, yeah. I almost lost track. With that right there, man, that's just saying that your North Node is tied to that. Your destiny is to break out of that. It's about, you know, dealing with whatever issues you have with people, breaking out of that comfort zone, that fourth house, and realizing how deep your emotions are. And then, like, eventually in life, the whole world will feel at home to you. You feel me? So no, you don't just stay in the house. Tommy, you said, how was my Halloween? it didn't go so well. Obviously. It didn't go so well, obviously. Motherfucker took me out of the game, man. Blew my motherfucking wig back. I don't want to stick my hand in the hole in my head, but... Bro, I am coming to you from a whole nother plane of existence right now. Motherfucker blew my wig back last night. I'm just that powerful. Chanel B, you said, how's this Scorpio Mars treat me? You see. I'm fucked up. I'm jamming. Elizabeth, you said Virgo rising, huh? Are you asking me about Virgo rising, or are you telling me? Because I've actually had some interesting insights about Virgo risings the last couple of days. I've been actually having to get on a few Virgo risings ass the other day because I've been seeing some Virgo risings acting like they just got it all together, like they just got everything figured out. But don't y'all forget that y'all got Pisces in the 7th house. You know, doesn't that mean y'all tend to idealize everybody that y'all involve yourself with personally? Which has caused you all kinds of problems in your life. I've had to pull a few Virgo risings up off that high horse this week. And then with Moon in the 6th house, man. First of all, you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Second of all, getting into a routine that serves you is like of the utmost importance for you feeling comfortable with yourself emotionally. Because with Moon in the 6th house, when your routine gets upset, hey man, it's Saturday. Can't get a Band-Aid, bro. It's a fucking bullet hole through my motherfucking head, nigga. No Band-Aid for this. I feel like I'm still fine. Astro Girl, there is no set topic, man. If you have any questions, you can ask me questions. There's a lot we're talking about. What is that? That ain't help either. What y'all got going on with y'all, man? Slavi D, Scorpio, 4th house stellium, Gemini, Moon, Saturn, Aquarius. Help you out, bro. First of all, you're going through a Saturn return right now with that Saturn Aquarius. So I could help you out. And I mean, I'm here to answer any questions that you have. But really, with that Saturn return going on, the universe is giving you all the help you need right now, homie. The universe is giving you all the help you need, man. You just need to sit back, buckle up, and take these karmic lessons, man. Because when you come out the other side of this next year, you'll have a whole different perspective, man. Hey, I was just thinking too that there's gonna be a point in January, at the end of January, when the sun, the moon, Venus, Mars, and Mercury, I believe. Mercury might not be in there. I have to look at the dates. They're all going to be in Capricorn. Malcolm Wilson, no. I ain't bloody, though. I look wounded. When you hear me say what it was, understand there's nothing bloody about me, never. Cause I wasn't fighting, I got smoked. I didn't make it through Halloween night. But today is the Day of the Dead, so we's back vibing anyway. But yeah, I ain't never been bloody in my life, man. Only wounded. Any advice for Pluto in the 1st house individuals? I have a whole bunch of advice for Pluto in the 1st house individuals. I have Pluto in the 1st house. Man, the thing with Pluto in the 1st house, man, is like you attract so much to you. You attract so much to you. And it ain't always good. Matter of fact, most of the time it's bad shit. Especially when you were younger. Especially when you're putting yourself around bad shit. The thing with Pluto in the 1st house. See, but if you could just stick it out, if you could just go through all these experiences that you're going to attract to yourself with Pluto in the 1st house, you actually end up being the most powerful, immortal individual that there is, because you don't lose. No, you just get better. Like, you take everything in stride and you ain't going to let nothing take you down with that right there. Because you done seen it all. You ain't got to worry about the shadow because you are the shadow. It's a part of you. That's Pluto in the 1st house. It's integrated into who you are already. You've always dealt with that shadow. So with Pluto in the 1st house, man, it's just about not allowing yourself to be overwhelmed by the experiences that you attract, because if you can make it through, there's so much power to be had. But there are those that have been crushed. I mean, look at Robin Williams. What's up, Mr. Nobody? You already say what's up? Slavi D said, what's the deal with empty houses? Are they bad or good? No, they're not bad or good. The thing with empty houses is like, it doesn't mean they're not important, but there's not an energy that's, without a planet there, there's not an energy that's necessarily focused there. So you need to pay attention to the sign that's on the cusp with that and see what's going on in that aspect of your life, because that really has nothing muddling it up. You have a clear vision of what's going on with your life with that sign or whatever signs that are going on in that house. And so when you're looking at it like that, like, you're great with empty houses. It just don't ever, it's not bad or good. Man. It's just, there's not anything fucking with that energy, you know? Because you could have, say you have a house, right? In astrology, and you have some energy going on, and you think it's all, you got Venus and Jupiter there, right? But if Saturn is there with that whole house, it changes the whole freaking dynamic of that house. You feel me? It changes the whole dynamic of that house if you put Saturn there with those houses. So therefore, when you're looking at an empty house, there's nothing there that's saying that something is supposed to be focused this way or that way at the beginning of the house, the end of the house, or at this point. That energy of what's going on with that house is clear. What's up, here, the Nielsen? Malcolm said, how do I feel about intercepted signs in the chart? I mean, I don't feel in any way, form, or fashion about them whatsoever. You know, I don't even necessarily call them interceptions. So, you know, I just see how the chart flows naturally. Let me see what else we got going on. Scorpio rising Taurus moon people. That's beautiful. That's so powerful right there. That does give you the control that you need. That does give you a certain inner calmness that a lot of people that have Pluto in the first house, or that people that have Scorpio rising, that might not have. Because Scorpio rising, they do have control a lot of the time, but when it gets out of control, it's a shit show. It's a shit show. Neptune in Capricorn in the first house, that's retrograde. That's interesting right there. That, first of all, that lets me know straight up that you're very much of an introverted person. With that right there. When I see Neptune in Capricorn in the first house right there, you're a very introverted person. And the thing with that is like, you really see people for what they really are. With that being in retrograde, like, you not disillusioned about anybody but you. About anybody but you. Sometimes, like, sometimes you have no fucking idea what's going on with you with that one. And sometimes you sell with Capricorn there, like, you're selling yourself short, especially emotionally right there. Sometimes spiritually. Prince of Moon, you said, what does Neptune and Capricorn mean in general without regards to house? Neptune and Capricorn just means that, like, first of all, Neptune and Capricorn, it might add a certain shadiness to the situation, because Neptune and Capricorn people are realists. You know, Neptune and Capricorn, like, these people see the world as being as it should be. And, you know, that can be kind of depressing from a humanitarian viewpoint, but from a very base spiritual sense, like, you understand in a very primary way that, you know, everything just works out the way that it should work with Neptune and Capricorn, man. And so that in itself is cool, since that you're by nature a conservative a little bit inside of you spiritually. Neptune don't work well in Capricorn at all. Josh Bourdain says, Saturn's been transiting my 12th house for the last couple years and is about to cross my ascendant around January. Any advice would be appreciated. Well, that first of all tells me that whatever you've been dealing with mentally or spiritually is about to come out to play into real life, coming from the 12th house into the first house. Right? Like, everything that's been going on in the back of your mind, like, you finna have to deal with it. Like, when Saturn is coming from the 12th to the 1st, it's about facing your fears. Saturn represents fears. People forget that sometimes. Saturn represents hard. They get so lost in the hardship that they represent. Sometimes the hardship is you because of your own fears and restrictions and inhibitions that you're placing upon yourself. And so, with Saturn right there, man, that's about facing your fears. You know what I'm saying? Because you might just get made to do so. Saturn is not about thinking about it, feeling about it. Saturn is about doing it. Saturn is about experiencing it. If y'all here and y'all ain't hit that like button, man, you seriously out of line, man. Neptune in the 9th house in Sagittarius. Neptune in the 9th house in Sagittarius is actually beautiful. Really, that just says that, first of all, you're a very spiritual person. Like, you're an extremely spiritual person. And in a base sense, that also tells me that you're Aries rising. But in telling me that just tells me that you're a person that's very in tune with their spirituality. You kind of always been, naturally. And you've always wondered about those big questions about the meaning of life. And, you know, you're in this life to have experiences to find out, like, where you stand spiritually with Neptune there. All right? Just you can't get disillusioned, because you could easily end up with Neptune in the 9th or Neptune in Sagittarius. You could easily end up, you know, falling behind somebody that's preaching some bullshit to you, or getting aligned with some bullshit politically that's not so great for you spiritually. That's the thing with Neptune in the 9th. Do I have an astrological preference when it comes to friends or romantic relationships? Absolutely not. Say, man, First of all, I come from a multicultural background. Second of all, to be honest with you, like, I don't fuck with nobody. I fuck with everybody in a certain sense. I'm very polite. I'm cool. Like, y'all see me this, y'all see my persona, and that's just because it's just me and my camera. But I need to implore to you that I am an introvert to the fullest. Like, I'm here by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fuck with people really. You know what I mean? And I used to have a lot of friends, but even then, like, that was to a certain extent. I'm a Cancer sun, Pisces moon, you know. I got Pluto in the first. I'm a Libra rising, so that makes me sociable. But other than that, like, I stick to me. Mars in the 4th house is a loner too. I'm just a loner by nature, really. His old tattoo is 20 years old now. That says 1 deep right there. So 1 right here, it says deep across my neck with a $100 bill in there. Mr. Nobody, you said, what's it mean to have a karmic lesson 0? That doesn't mean a karmic lesson 0 doesn't mean anything at all. I mean, a karmic lesson 0 kind of means that you have a chance to really clear out that karmic lesson right there. Like, you have a chance to break even on that lesson right there. In numerology, a 0 is usually a very good thing, but at the same time, like, if you're having say you have a cycle 0 in one of your cycles, okay, in your numerology numbers. The thing is, that doesn't mean that you don't have anything to do. It just means that you have a choice whether or not to do nothing. Because you can really deal with anything that goes on with any of the other numbers, 1 through 9. But with that 0, you have a choice to not deal with anything at all. But the thing is, the karma comes in the choice of a 0 in numerology. The karma comes from the choice. Because if you choose to do nothing, there's a good chance that you might incur a karmic debt later on. So that's tricky with a 0. That's very tricky with a 0. Yeah. Like, and another thing with me, y'all, like, when you see that, like, I'm either in my shell or not a few friends, like, I have very close friends, but I don't fool with them every day. I don't see them. They live in whole other states. Like, for me to function well and healthily, I have to be away from where I was born at. I have to be away from my hometown, my home state, because I'll get in trouble there. For me, I have to be in a positive environment. I have to be away from that. I function great right here, taking care of my kids, pandering to an audience, but not fucking with anybody. Okay? Because I care so much, I get so involved with my Cancer sun and my Pisces moon, and even with Libra rising, that I will lose myself. I'll get involved in some shit that I don't necessarily need to even be fucking with, and then I end up being a product of my environment when that's my own fault. If you hang at the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. So I'm not gonna be at the barbershop. I'm not even gonna be in the same state as the barbershop I like to go to. Life path. Hold on. Life path and soul urge number 7. That's just about, that right there is about dealing with issues of spirituality. That life path 7 is about dealing with issues of spirituality. That means finding out what's really going on with you, going through experiences in life that are gonna force you to get in touch with your spirituality anytime, because your life path is a 7 and your soul is urging you towards your life path. That's what they're operating in unison together. What else we got? Shasine said, what happens when transit Pluto conjunct your moon? Is that an emotional crisis? No, but that means that there's some shit that you need to deal with inside of yourself emotionally, and some shit connected with your past in order for you to really come into your power with transit Pluto conjunct to your moon. Like there's something going on with either your family, your mom, or your past, something going on that's kind of keep forcing you to act a certain way emotionally. And so going through a transit like this, especially with Pluto going to be there for so long like that, that's going to really push you to deal with those type of things and bring you into your own power emotionally the other side. Okay, and you know it's going to be intense. It's probably be sexy and all that shit, but there's also going to be some really dark things within yourself that you're needing to look at internally with that. Your sun square your rising, like with the sun square to the rising, man. First of all, like that to me speaks of an identity crisis. Not so much as an opposition would be, but that lets me know that who you really are and who you portray to everybody else, they're not the same thing. Okay, because if your sun is square to your rising, then your sun is either in the 4th house or the 10th house. All right, so either who you really are is not what everybody sees, and you yourself are fucked up with it, or with the 10th house, then what you're portraying and your image of everybody and what everybody else sees you as is all confused with that right there. It also means that you're very powerful, but you get in your own way. So once you deal with that crisis that's going on with that, and you kind of sort out whatever's going on with that aspect, because I don't know the houses, the signs, or any of that, and you know, this is just me speaking in general, and that's really all I'm going to do right here. But like, you just gotta deal with what's going on with you either internally or the image that you're projecting. Because it depends on whether that's the 4th or with the ascendant, whether it's the right there with the IC or the MC that you're having this issue with. Yeah, North Node in Sag in the 4th house. That's about just coming to your own and realizing the world is your home. It's about experiencing things. It's about allowing yourself to experience things. It's really also, more than anything else, I would say Cancer in the 9th house would be more about letting the world be your home. I say North Node in Sag in the 4th house is about becoming comfortable with yourself spiritually. All right? It's just about becoming comfortable with yourself spiritually. All right, Rachel. I will do that for you, though. Oh, Isaac, no, my sun isn't square my rising. My midheaven, my rising is square my midheaven. Like, no. My sun is at 4 degrees of Cancer. My rising is at 16 degrees of Libra. My midheaven is at 20 degrees of Cancer. You feel me? My Mars is at 21 degrees of Capricorn in the 4th house. So those oppose each other, but they work out together because, I work from home. I have a Cancer midheaven, and then my Mars is in Capricorn in the 4th house. And I'm the best at what I do, I feel like, right here with y'all. And I do it from the crib. And, it works out. I'm able to bring healing. I'm able to handle my business with my family and take care of my business in the public arena. So that's how those two reflect each other. But then I also have Mercury and Venus in Leo in the 10th house to help me out with my charisma right here with y'all and, allow me to do my thing with Venus being my chart ruler. So all of that just plays and works together. Like, I've actually sat here and broke down my whole chart a couple of times and told y'all how to activate your whole chart. Yeah, man. I got Mars in Capricorn. I got Mars at 21 degrees of Capricorn in the 4th house, man. My midheaven is at 20 degrees of Cancer also. But my midheaven is actually, I have more of what some would consider a 9th house midheaven. And with Mars in 4th, I like to do everything at night. With Mars in the 4th, I like to do everything at night. But I'm also a morning person also. But I like to do, at night is when I like to chill. That's when I learn things. That's when I study. That's when I'm by myself. At night is when I'm like, when I'm taking in what I would say downloads. You know, that's when I'm really just being quiet and I'm doing something that's kind of distracting me from everything else, but allowing me to be in tune with my spirituality. So I could be just listening to music. I could be having a boxing fight playing on the TV, but I'm really sitting there zoned out writing, you know, about astrology or writing about something spiritually. Or I'm just doing something like that at night. Like at night, that is when I'm, you know, in my element. But I actually have a day chart though. But I also see my midheaven and Mars are opposite to each other, but my Sun and Neptune are exactly opposite to each other because my Sun is 4 degrees of Cancer. My in the 9th house, my Neptune is at 4 degrees of Capricorn in my 3rd house. And so with that opposition, sometimes I don't be knowing what the hell is going on. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of that Cancer Capricorn shit going on with me, both internally and externally, because I'm obviously a Cancer, but with Mars being in the 4th in Capricorn, like I move like a Capricorn, like with Capricorn being my 4th, I'm a Capricorn deep inside of me. You get what I'm saying? And okay, Taya C, you said, oh hold up, Astro Girl, you said Lilith in Capricorn. How do you calm her? You don't. Lilith in Capricorn is mean as hell, but the thing with Lilith in Capricorn is if once you allow her to be integrated in a way that's productive, like what's gonna stop you from doing anything you want to do? What's gonna stop you from fucking starting a company? What's to stop you from being the boss that everybody wants to be, that everybody talks about being? Because you got all the tools to do it. You got the skills to pay the bills. As long as you ain't manipulating people, stepping on people, you'll be all right. As long as you ain't being mean to everybody, and as long as you allow yourself to actually have some feelings with Lilith and Capricorn, you'll be straight. And what Isaac Sir, you said, what do I think about Aries, 4th house Sun, trine Sagittarius, 4th house 12th house Mars? Ooh, that tells me that you're very, very competitive, and like you really like that. And sometimes that's not to your best. And also, like, you have trouble believing in yourself. With Mars right there in the 12th house, sometimes in Sagittarius, like that's belief. Like sometimes you have trouble believing in yourself, and then when you do, you know, sometimes it's like you let it out. It's all that fire. It's too much. It's too much. It's Jupiter. It'll blow up everybody. And so, just remember that just because you built like that, you ain't got to build like that. What else we got? Okay, I have a question. Can your natal chart tell you when you might have a midlife crisis, and how would you find it? I always tell people that look for your Uranus opposition, and that represents that midlife crisis in life, because at around the age of 40, around there, Uranus kind of opposes your natal Uranus, and that kind of signifies that midlife crisis, because that's really just Uranus upending things and making you want to do things differently so you can align yourself with the paths that you probably should have been aligned with all along. All right, but even if not, when Uranus is opposing your natal Uranus, it's just also just bringing into light like characters of yourself that you really haven't seen in a while. With that one, when Uranus is opposing your natal Uranus, there's going to be unexpected things that happen in your life that really just bring out things in you that you damn like, I forgot that's who the fuck I am. So yeah. And then with transit Uranus conjunct natal Mercury, hey, is your way of communicating changing for the better? It can be, but more than anything else, let me say this. What it's really gonna do is just, you're gonna have some insights. You're gonna have some brilliant ideas. Right now is the time to, if you have some idea come up to you, you have some shit come across your mind, some shit that you feel like is innovative, you should be writing that shit down. Because this is the time in your life where things can really be changing. It's not even about communication. This right here is about ideas. This is about changing the whole way that you think right here. Because there's some enlightenment coming for you. But with Uranus, if you don't stay ready, it's going to upend your whole world. So this is about staying ready in order to have to keep from getting ready. Uncle Jubu said, what do I think about a Taurus Sun, Scorpio rising, Sagittarius Moon, life path number 33? That tells me that you're here to teach people. That tells me that you're going to go through a really rough life because, you know, once you become comfortable with yourself, with the sun there, with that opposition there, you know, and with the sun, hey, with the sun opposite your rising right there, that sun's in the 7th house. So most likely, that just says that, you know, your relationships are everything, man. So as long as you can stay optimistic, as long as you can be comfortable with yourself and you don't have to look to who you're involving yourself with to be comfortable with you, and you accept the power that comes from the experiences that you go through in life, you'll be straight. Mars is opposite Jupiter in Gemini. The thing with Mars opposite Jupiter in Gemini is that means that your Mars is in Sagittarius if your Jupiter is in Gemini. And once again, that speaks of doing too much. And then with Jupiter and Gemini, like, Jupiter and Gemini can be really good at kind of good at a lot of stuff. Because I said it right. But what are you going to do to be really good at something? You get what I'm saying? And then Mars and Sagittarius, like, that's very positive energy. That's going to help you out. If it's opposite to Jupiter and Gemini, like, as long as you can be positive and not argue with people, you be straight. Now, hit that like button if y'all ain't hit the like button, man. Or I'm finna knock all this shit over. Y'all see I done got motherfucking shot. I'm still here. Hit the goddamn like button. Mr. Nobody, you said Uranus opposite the North Node. North Node in Leo in the 11th, and Uranus in Aquarius, Uranus in the 5th. Like, that's interesting right there. I would have to think about that one right there. And give me a few minutes to think about it. I'm gonna answer some other stuff, but give me a few minutes to think about that because I'm not gonna tell you anything that almost knocked something off. I'm not gonna tell you anything that's out of line, man. So give me a few minutes to think about that because that's an interesting mix right there. You know, with that Leo North Node in the 11th, like, that's about still having friends and still being confident in yourself. And with Uranus being opposite to that, that means you're gonna go through some shit. And you're gonna need to get away from these sudden outbursts of attention-seeking behavior with that right there. And just really become comfortable with yourself and be confident with yourself and your abilities and your creativity, and also allow yourself to have a network without being too selfish with that. Like, because right there, those two things are working in conflict with each other. But if you can allow them to work in unison with each other, it's really all the same energy. It's just really all the same energy. Saturn in the 4th house, Jupiter in the 7th house. What to do with work? I don't know. What signs is it in? What's in your 10th house? What's in your 6th house? Tommy, you said what sign do I attract the most? I attract all of them. I attract all of them. But if we being honest, because I have Pluto in the 1st, I attract all of them. But me, myself, I am typically attracted to assertive. I have Aries in the 7th house. You know what I'm saying? I got Venus in Leo in the 10th house. You know, even my Mars is in Capricorn. So with me, you know, I like power. I'm turned on by strong motherfuckers. I'm turned on by you know, that independent. I'm turned on by that fire. I'm turned on by somebody that's gonna check me. Somebody. I want somebody to tell me I ain't shit before they let me hit that thing. You know what I'm saying? Capricorns. You know, I'm a Cancer, so I attract Capricorns. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Libra rising, so I attract Aries. I got Venus in Leo. All of that speaks to me liking assertive women. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm attracted to. Boss types. Venus is in the 10th house. Boss types. Scorpio 333 said Aquarius in the 6th house, Gemini in the 10th house. See? Aquarius in the 6th house means that you can do anything, but I would say something that has to do with networking. Something that has to do with online communication. You know, Aquarius is all kinds of stuff. You get what I'm saying? But with Gemini in the 10th house, that has to do with communication. But that also speaks to being versatile. Let's just make sure that you're being honest. And anything could open up for you with that Gemini midheaven up there with Gemini in the 10th. See, but I have Lilith and Gemini in the 8th, so there's a whole plethora of things that turn me on. But that doesn't mean that doesn't attract me. I could be turned on by a lot of stuff. To see, the thing about me is I could be turned on by a whole plethora of different things. I mean, I am flesh, obviously. But what I'm attracted to, that's something else. What I'm going to seriously invest in, that's something else. You feel me? Like, I'm that type. I've always been like that. Now, I'm grown now, so I've come to a place where I would not share my energy sexually with anybody but the person that I'm in love with and the person that I'm involved with in a relationship. But when it comes to the essence of it all, the essence deep down to it. I could be turned on by anything. I could fuck anything, but I'm not gonna take anything seriously. You got to be on your shit for me to notice you. And that's just how it's always been for me. Like, that's what Venus in the 10th house means. That's what Mars in Capricorn means. That's, I mean, even Pluto, with Pluto in the first, the opposite of that would be Taurus on the other end of that. With Libra rising, the other end of that is Aries. You get what I'm saying? Like, all of that just speaks to assertion, sometimes even aggression. And there's been a lot of conflicts. I have found myself in a lot of situations where it wasn't so great because I was trifling, because I was attracted to boss types. I was attracted to aggressive women. I was attracted to motherfuckers that's gonna get on my ass, but then I wasn't gonna do right. I was still gonna be out trifling. I was still gonna be out fucking around because I could fuck anything. But what I would take seriously was something else. So there was always a conflict until I had to grow the fuck up and say, hey, there's a conflict between them two, man. And that's what Lilith is all about. You understand that? Lilith is here to get in the way. You know, you get what I'm saying? The fact that I could be a hoe, even with my moon in the 5th house, like the fact that I could, you know, go out and I had the ability to do so. The fact that I could do that, but that's not what I'm attracted to. That's the thing about Lilith. I had to learn how to do something else with that energy. I had to get a handle on that. So instead of allowing that to come out sexually, I allowed it to come out with healing people. I had allowed it to come out with transformations. I allowed Lilith to work through me communicate with Lilith and Gemini. I allowed it to work through my communication. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm using the 8th house, the magnetism. I'm using all that energy. Hey, Miss Sharon, did I send your reading to you yet? If not, I have it done. I'm gonna send it to you. If I haven't, let me know. If I haven't, let me. When I get done with this live here in a little bit, I will send them to you today. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I haven't seen somebody that reading that I have done yet. I have to look. But that's the thing with that, man. And Malcolm Wilson, I also have Juno in Sagittarius. I have Juno in Sagittarius in the 2nd house. So unless I meet some mysterious wealthy foreigner, I don't know about Juno. But yeah, for me, it's about strength. For me, it's about, you know, somebody that's handling business. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of that has to do with not even what I'm attracted to with somebody sexually. Like me, I'm the type of person that, and I was watching another video by another astrologer that was actually talking about a relationship between a Capricorn woman and a Cancer man. And they were talking about some things, but basically they were just explaining that the reason why the Cancer man is attracted to the Capricorn woman is because she is not going to allow him to be complacent. You get what I'm saying? She is not going to allow him to. She's not going to sit up and allow him to just take care of him. No, she's going to make him get up and do something else. Scorpio 333, you have to hit me up in my email. I don't talk about my prices here on live. My prices I have a set list of price in the menu, but hit me up in my email at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. But yeah, man, like I'm the type of person, and I'm not just talking about in relationships. I'm talking about with my friends. I'm talking about with my producer. See, I would have never been able to be the artist as I am as a producer or as a rapper, because I'm the type of person that as soon as you tell me I'm good at something, I'm gonna stop growing. Like, you have to constantly stay on my ass. If you tell me I'm trash, if you tell me I suck, if you tell me I ain't gonna, that's Pluto in the first two. If you tell me I ain't gonna do it, guess what? I'm gonna do it. If you tell me I'm trash, guess what? I'm gonna come prove to you every single day that I'm better than you. If you challenge me, I will not be beat. You get what I'm saying? And so that's how it goes. But the minute that I think I'm good. I'm not going to grow anymore. If you tell me I'm good, I'm not getting any better than that. That's how I am. So I have to constantly stay on my own ass. It's got to a point now to where I'm mature enough to where I have to stay on my own ass. But when I was young, I'm fortunate enough that I ran into people in my life, like my former producer, that pushed me. See, the first time I was going to rap in the studio, I had been going and performing at people's house. I would go see the producer of this label, who had a major distribution deal, but it was just small. He was just a small dude. It was like a connection deal. You know what I'm saying? Just for publishing through a major distribution deal. Like, for instance, you have Interscope, who owns Aftermath. Aftermath owns Shady. Shady owns G-Unit. G-Unit owns so-and-so and so-and-so. You get what I'm saying? Or you have Asylum, who owns Rap-A-Lot. And then Rap-A-Lot owns Swisher or something like that. You get what I'm saying? So it goes down like that. So we had a major distribution deal through a major label. But anyway, he was locked up. And so me and my best friend would go to his girl's house because she was the weed plug. And we go over there and rap. And she was like, man, you got it. You got it. When Fed, which is his name, when Fed come home, we gonna put you on in the studio, right? We gonna put you on. You and Jonathan gonna get you to go in there and rap. That's my best friend, Fame. He's an Aries Sun, Pisces Moon. I'm a Cancer Sun, Pisces Moon. But anyway, he like that. So eventually, Fed did come home. And my girl at the time was best friends with his girl. So they all go to a celebration of him being released from wherever he was locked up at. And so they're all in the studio rapping. And so this is how our relationship started off. I go in there. He don't know me. He just knows that he was calling me Angela's man at the time, because that's what my girl was. And my girl was like his sister-in-law at the time. And that's not my girl now. I don't know what she's going on with her life, but that's who she was then. But anyway, so I kept going in there like, hey man, let me get on the mic, because they in there recording the CD. They recording his release CD or whatever. And I hear him in there freestyling, but I think I'm better than all of those dudes in there. And so I go in there and I say, hey man, let me get on the mic. He be like, nigga, I don't know you. Get the fuck out of here. You're not rapping in here. Go sit down with your girl in here. You lucky, you know, he just talks shit to me. And I'm a little kid. I'm like 16 or 17. And he's like 35. But my girl is like 26 at the time. So we just in there. He be like, nah, get your ass in there. I'm not letting you rap on my mic. I don't even fucking know you. Get in there. You trash. And I'd be like, it just made me go and I just go in there and get madder and madder. I go in there again like, hey man, let me go in there, man. I'll wreck all these niggas you got in here. And he'd be like, man, get your ass in there. You trash. I'm not letting you. I don't know you. You're not rapping in my studio, homeboy. And I'm just fucking boiling. I'm boiling. And then that went on for like 2 hours where I'm just sitting there and I'm ready to go. I'm crying. I'm a Cancer. I'm letting you know. I'm about to cry. I might even be crying. Like, I am pissed. Like, this motherfucker done pissed me the fuck off. And then he came in there and said, hey, he said, you got one chance to rap on my microphone. If you ain't phenomenal, I want you to get out of my house, and and he just talks shit like that's how I learned later on that's how he is naturally, but I want to fight him too. More than anything else, I know me, my competitive nature, I'm a Mars and Capricorn. It's not about beating him up, it's about beating him. It's about chess, not checkers. It's about letting him know that I'm superior to him in that situation with that Mars and Capricorn. Like, oh, you think you better than me? You'll never be better than me. Because guess what? I'm going to learn to be better than you, even if you're better than me right now. That's Mars and Capricorn. Like, guess what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to come out the other end better than you. And guess what? I will be. And so he called me in there. He says, you got one chance. I'm going to let you rap. Boom. He said, in his freestyle, you better not have nothing written. He turned the beat on. I remember. And just comes on. I remember the exact rhyme. It was just like something like, Superman fucking hoes getting broke. Can you feel the ice, man? I'm getting kind of cold. Can't you know you're my rhymes? Blunts full of pine. And then I said my classic line that y'all heard me. I said, let me open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. Something like that. But anyway, but I was 16. I just started going off the dome and I killed everybody in there or whatever. And he still didn't say nothing. He turned the beat off. He said, all right, you can go back in there with your girl now. So I go back in there with her, right? And we leave or whatever. He didn't say nothing to me. The next day he called me and said, you know, how would you like to be on my label? And that's a sense of satisfaction. But that opened up a whole relationship with him where we go to the studio. He put me in a group with me and my best friend. And we go to the studio. We write a song, right? He write his verse. I write my verse. As soon as he come with his verse, I come with my verse. As soon as we get in the studio, Fed will be like, oh, your shit is trash, Roddy. Roderick, your shit sucks. Ugh. You know what? I'm probably just gonna take your verse off and make Jonathan be solo. Cause you ain't got it. Nigga, you trash. And I would just be pissed. And it didn't bother Jonathan because Jonathan's an Aries. He's competitive anyway. We both Pisces moon, but he's an Aries, I'm a Cancer. But inside of me, I'm like, man, neither one of them is better than me at anything in here. I'm on his label. I'm like, man, I'm gonna eventually I don't want to do nothing for you, bro. I want to make beats better than you, so I don't never have to fuck with you on music. I want to rap better than all these niggas, so everybody can fucking give me my flowers. And so that's just kind of what fed me. And I learned from dealing with him over time. I'm not gonna keep going into it. I just learned from dealing with him over time that that's how I am. That it takes somebody like him. And I ended up loving that man for it because he knew how to push my buttons. It took somehow inherently. He just knew that I was the type of person that he pushed me because there was also times when it was other than music. If I got into trouble, if I need something, this man would come get me out of jail. This man would come make sure I'm okay. This man would go let me live with him. He would do all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I went to prison and I came home from prison, he had a fucking record deal waiting for me when I got out of prison. Like, hey man, if you want to do music, you can do music, homie. And that was all cool until he fucking ended up getting himself in trouble and getting into a whole bunch of federal bullshit. And he's locked up now. But that's beside the fact. Like he just knew how to bring that out of me by pressing my buttons, And then from learning that from him, I also started to see the pattern, besides astrology, I started to see the patterns in my relationships where I was naturally going into relationships that were in adversarial situations because of my own behavior. And you know why? It's so I could learn. Because besides all that, I got my son in the 9th house. But so guess what? I learned by experience. I learned by bumping my head. You know what I'm saying? I learned by going through some shit. And so that's just kind of how it goes. See, I went through death last night and I'm still here. Yeah. But yeah, I just learned that I'm the type of person that if you allow me to get too comfortable, it's over there. It's over with for me and you. I'm not gonna get any better. I'm not gonna grow anymore. So I'm the type of person that is always looking to involve myself with people who are gonna push me to be at my best. For real. And the thing is, like, you got to ask yourself, who are you involving yourself with? Are you involving yourself with enablers? Or are you involving yourself with people who's going to kiss your ass? Are you involving yourself with people who are going to push you? Are you involving yourself with people who are going to bring you down? Because everybody doesn't grow like me. Understand that. Just because that's how I work, I respond to adversity, I've had to learn the hard way that that's not how everybody else works, because that same shit that makes me strong, it has made my little sister, and it also made one of my closest friends and my little brother get killed. And I feel like I'm almost directly responsible for that, because the thing is, he came into the fold with me, and he saw me when I was young and I was a teenager. I was like 19 or 20 and he was like 15 or 16, and I met him through somebody else that had heard one of our CDs, and he just wanted to latch on to me. He thought I was his favorite rapper. He wanted to latch on to me. He wanted to hang out with me. And here's the thing, like, he was the type of guy, like, he is so cool and so talented, but he's not a gangster. You feel me? He's not a gangster. And I had been around feds. The thing is, I was a gangster at that time. And I had been around feds so much that I had kind of become hardened to the way that I handle people. So as soon as his name was Sam, as soon as Sam came, like, I started pushing him like, hey man, you ain't no gangster. And I started just picking at him, and he wanted to be so much like me. And I would talk shit to him, and I would put him down, and I would handle him, and sometimes even bully him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking that I'm making him strong, because That's how I respond to shit. You feel me? That's how I respond to shit. That's how I respond to stuff. Because when shit gets tough for me, that's when I do my best stuff. You get what I'm saying? But I have Mars in the 4th house. Like, you know what I mean? I have so much going on with my son. I have Pluto in the 1st house. When life gets rough, I get tough. And that's just how I operate. But with Sam, with my little sister, that's not how they operate. I pressed his buttons, I pressed his buttons, I pressed his buttons, I pressed his buttons. And he wanted to be so much like me that he started trying to be something he's not. And I remember, like, we there at the studio one day, and it's me and a couple of dudes from, you know, what they would call my set, my gang, and we all chilling, and Sam starts talking out the side of his neck, and he's like a little brother to me, and I know better. And they're telling me, he's like, man, I'm down with y'all. And like, if you start saying that, eventually, if you really claim a gang or you're part of a set, eventually somebody's gonna check you about that shit, especially if they don't think that you about that. And so we sit in the studio. He's learning how to produce under our producer. Sam doesn't necessarily rap, but he's an apprentice under our producer, and he's learning how to make beats. And on the side, without anybody knowing it, me and Sam are at home on our own at his home studio recording songs, just me and him, because he loves me so much. He wants to latch on to me so much that, hey, we're chilling. And he was the weed plug, and I'm a fucking weed fiend. So on top of that, I can smoke all I want. I'm getting a rap. So I'm just really sitting here with this kid, but I'm also damaging him with the way that I'm treating him and the things that I'm teaching him. Because I'm not teaching him anything about healing. I'm not teaching him anything productive with his life. I'm teaching him exactly opposite of what he should be doing with his life, because he is not a gangster. He was not built for the type of things that I'm built for. And even if he was, I shouldn't have been teaching him to be a part of that. And he was a Pisces. And you know how Pisces are, man. Like, they take up everything. They take up everything. They are a product of their environment. Gemini too at sometimes. But he's taking in everything I'm teaching him, and he's formulating a mentality in his mindset that is not healthy. That is not healthy. And so I pick at him. We're at the studio. He's in there saying, oh, I'm this, I'm that. And so these niggas like, hey, if you really that, get outside and fade this. We finna put you down for the set for real. I say, no, don't do that to him. But he want to be hard. All right, now I'm going out there. He go out there. The only person I know, swear to God, that went to get jumped into a gang and didn't make it. I'm not saying died. I'm saying he didn't make the cut. He folded up. He was too scared. He was running. He did not make it. He's not tough enough. And that shit's not cool at all. Like, for me to subject my little brother to that, for me to look at him like that and do that with him, like, that's so out of line on my part, but that's all I knew at that point. So, and all I would do was responding to how I had been taught. And I had to learn that just how I was, just because I was taught a way, I can't teach everybody else that way. That's why I've become such a great teacher that I am now, because I have to learn which button to press with everybody, which brings us back to the first thing we talked about with buttons earlier. But we'll get back to that in a minute. But anyway, it was just like I'm pressing these buttons in this man that he doesn't necessarily have. And so what ultimately ended up happening, to make a long story short, is I ended up getting locked up, right? And while I'm locked up in prison, I'm watching the news, and I think I looked away, but I heard him say something about a guy named something Rodriguez got killed in my hometown in Abilene, Texas. And I'm like, man, I didn't think nothing of it, because I thought it was a Mexican guy. And I'm not saying I feel sad. I just didn't know who the guy was. And so it wasn't anything like that. But I don't remember Sam's last name, right? And I don't remember Sam's last name, right? And so the day goes on. About 2 hours later, the chaplain came to get me. And he said that you got a phone call. And it's important. And so he pulls me in there. And when he pulls me in there, I get on the phone. My little brother done got killed. he done went to a hood that isn't our hood. And he's over there hanging out, flagging, got a rag hanging out, claiming I'm locked up. Some shit that he would not, and I'm not saying it's cool at all. That shit's trash, but it's some shit that he would not do if I was out anyway, because I would have checked that shit like, bro, sit your soft ass down. But I should have never did that shit to him anyway. I should have taught him about his creativity. I should have taught him how special his soul is, how it's okay to be a kind and sensitive person, that it's okay to walk around with a fucking backpack. That's what I should have taught him, because that's what I should have been doing. Look how intelligent I am. Look how talented I am. And look how much of my time I wasted in prison and doing all kinds of fuck shit for my life. To where now I'm just now 35 years old getting my life together in front of y'all. You feel me? But anyway, the thing what happened was Sam went to a party. He's on the wrong side of town. He's flagging. Some dudes from the hood that's not ours see him, know he's affiliated with me. And he has a girl with him. So they start pushing up on the girl that's with him. And they end up slipping her a few Zanny bars. We call them 4 bars in Texas, but a few 4 bars. You know, the handlebars, the Xanax quad bars. And she's all out of there, and they're trying to get her to go with them. And my little brother's like, nah, she ain't going with y'all. And here's where it gets fucked up. One of these dudes is my other cousin, my first cousin. And these 3 dudes, one of them older, another one younger, and then another one is like one of the dudes that I've owned, one of the only dudes that I could call one of my enemies back in the day, because I love this man now. Because I really found out that we were enemies, we beefed with each other, but it was only because our birthday, once I learned about astrology, our birthday is exactly one day. So much like each other. We are so much like each other that we have issues. So that makes everything sense, but that's beside the fact. But anyway, these dudes are trying to get her to go with them. He stands up saying, no, they can't go. One of the dudes said, what you gonna do about it? My brother, he's scary. He ain't gonna do nothing. But he's in a position that I done trained him to be in with this mentality that I done fed him. And they pistol whipped him. He fell on the ground. While he was on the ground, my cousin said, I bet you won't do that, nigga. That's how stupid this is. He said, I bet you won't do that, nigga. And then that other nigga from the other hood that I've been, from the hood that's opposite of mine growing up with, he said, I won't. And they all on Zanny bars. Cocked that bitch back, shot my brother in the back twice, killed him. 17 years old. My little sister. I don't know what happened to the chick. The chick is out here still alive, fine. Once they shot him, they ran. With my little sister. Like my little sister, she been through everything that I've been through in life. You get what I'm saying? Her mama died. My mama died. When we found my mama dead when I was 13 years old, and I've told y'all this a million times, and one day I'll tell y'all the full story. She wasn't asleep. It was a fucked up situation, all right? And the thing is, my sisters lived almost the exact, my daddy being a crackhead, all the shit that we've dealt with. But like I said, I'm a Cancer sun, Pisces moon. My sister's a Sagittarius sun, Virgo moon. And everything that's made me strong has made her weak. Everything that I've went through that has enlightened me and made me stronger, like, has made her feel like a victim. And she just points, she's 2.5 years younger than me. She just points fingers at everybody. Nothing is her fault. She don't want to take accountability for why she's a drug addict. Been on drugs for 10 years now. Don't have her kids. But I also know when I was a little kid, I wasn't a good brother. When I was a little kid, I never was comforting to my sister. After my mama died, that shit made me so strong. It made me strong and emotionally in a way that it made me callous. It made me callous towards death. One. It made me callous towards death. But it also, look at me. It's all fun and games, but some people would be mortified to be sitting here looking with a hole in the side of their head playing around. Like, that shit looks real in a bitch, man. Like, but for me, that's just funny to me. And that's not right. That's Black Moon Lilith in the 8th house too, by the way. To me, that's funny. But it's not funny. Everything I did today was to bring y'all to this lesson I'm bringing y'all, man. Hit the like button if you ain't did it yet, by the way. But it's not funny. It's not funny. Like everything I did, I pressed my sister's button. After my mama died, I would be mean to her. I would pick at her. You know what I'm saying? I would pick at her. I would call her names. I would do shit that I thought was making her tough. But really all it was doing was victimizing my little sister. It was hurting her feelings. She's a girl. And I'm not saying that feminine is weak and male, but it's different. Like I was handling her way different than I should have been handling her. I go in there just, when I was young, I go in there and just kick my sister's ass. I'll be real with you. Since I'm grown, I've never hit a lady in my life, but my little sister, that doesn't absolve it. My little sister, like I would go in there and just kick her ass on GP my whole life, but she was the only one that grew up in the house with me. I was her older brother, like that's how it was, until she would stand up for herself and do shit to me. But basically, like I just press button, and that's Mars in Capricorn. That's Mars in the 4th house too, y'all. That's a perfect example of Mars in the 4th house in Capricorn. I would just pick my sister. I would pick at my sister. I pick at my sister, pick at her, treat her, be mean to her because and I would do it because I love her. I would do it because I want her to be strong like me. But really, all I was doing was pushing her into drugs. What's up? She's Nikki from the UK. You know what I'm saying? All I was doing was pushing her into drugs. All I was doing was victimizing my little sister. All I was doing was making her feel bad about herself, making her feel not confident in herself. And who she is today isn't my fault. But everything with what she's become has a lot to do with her allowing her buttons to be pressed. Now, I press her buttons. So, what do? Everybody has buttons that can be pressed. What do? As a teacher, it's up for me to find the way to press the right buttons in people. And so that's why I've learned all these lessons on how to press the wrong buttons. I've gotten people killed, I feel like. And I have absolved myself of that. I'm not blaming myself for that. For what happened to Sam or my little brother, or for what's going on with my little sister, or for what's going on with my other little sister. Like, I'm not blaming myself for that. I'm not blaming myself for the stress that I put on my mom that could have helped with her sickness, that could have contributed to her death. I'm not blaming myself for anything. I'm not even blaming myself for the other burdens I put on people, because that's a part of their path. And what I understand spiritually is we all signed a contract. Like even the contract I signed on my life before I came into this life, the path that I chose for myself, even in that, I need to realize that my daughter, she chose me as her fault. So what she's going on in her path, everything that I've put her through for, that doesn't absolve me from it, but I understand that it's making her who she is. So I need to learn how to have forgiveness in the natural flow of life. And in doing so, I've learned that I'm a teacher. In doing so, I've learned that I'm a healer. I'm a healer through my teachings. You understand? And so, I wish my voice could be back. I miss my deep voice, but all these Cowboys games these weekends and killed my voice, y'all. But yeah, like once you realize that you signed this contract before this life, it makes everything kind of have a whole different significance. It doesn't have a more or less significance. It just has a whole different significance. All right. And you need to be able to find forgiveness. So when y'all say, hey, you can't blame yourself for what happened to old boy, I can blame myself for my part in what happened with the old boy. You get what I'm saying? I'm not blaming myself for what happened to him. I'm blaming myself for my part in the development of events that ended up in his ultimate demise on this earthly plane. But I also know that he can hear me now. I know that he's right here with me because now I have a spiritual understanding. Like, this is a person that I probably was guiding in life, but they really just went through their life so they could end up being my guide after the fact. You get what I'm saying? With my little sister, I'm not responsible for what the fuck she has going on, but I am responsible for the way that I treated her. You understand? Like, hey, if somebody that you know commits suicide, you are not responsible for. And they wrote a note and said that they did it because of you. You are not responsible for killing them. You did not make them commit suicide. However, you are responsible for your behavior in the situation because it might have been the way that you treated them that had an effect on them negatively that contributed to that. But ultimately, it was up to them for allowing those things to get to them in that way, and then ultimately making them to make those choices that they make. Like I said earlier, that's free game. You allow people to trigger you, allow people to press your buttons, they're going to get free money out of you. They control you. They control you. So that's what it comes back to. I'm not responsible for what happened to them. But I definitely am responsible for how I treated them in those situations. And it is up to me to be aware and accountable for that so that I can make sure that I don't make those same choices with anybody else anymore. I made those mistakes before, so I can now make the right choices in leading thousands of people. Thousands of people. That's all I have to do now. You get what I'm saying? Because it's not like I could sit here. I remember every time I used to get drunk, y'all, when I lived in my hometown, especially when I was younger before I went to prison. Every time I used to get drunk, I used to get mad and I'd go beat up my dad. I'm being honest with y'all. I'd go start a fight with my dad and go beat up my dad because, you know, I had all this resentment in me for everything that happened when I was a kid and him not being there, and me loving him so much and me having to deal with, really more than anything else, it wasn't for the stuff he did, it was for his absence and me having to deal with the stepdad that I had, who was ultimately very cold and abusive towards me. You feel me? So I would, and then ultimately, you know, just not, and me loving my dad so much and not understanding why he loved drugs more than he loved me. Like, what was so great about crack? And so I would get drunk when I was like 16 through 20 before I went to prison, and every time I would get drunk, I'd go to my dad's house, I'd pick a fight with him, I'd try to beat up my dad because of this resentment I had for. And here's the thing with that. That's that Black Moon Lilith and Gemini. My daddy's a Gemini. That's that Black Moon Lilith and Gemini. That's the same thing that you love, the same thing that you are, being the thing that you have a real problem with. That's what that Black Moon Lilith and Gemini is. That's the same energy that you yourself have learned to use in survival situations. That's that same energy being the energy that you yourself are terrified of, or you're not comfortable with, or that part of yourself that you're not so comfortable, that part of yourself that you don't really like. You feel me? And so it just took time and me realizing that and growth, especially when I was in prison, that I had to forgive my daddy. And then I've learned in my spiritual understanding, when I've learned about life contract or soul contracts and things like that, that I chose my daddy. I chose my daddy to be the way that he is, so that I can be the way that I am. I went through all the situations that I went through with my mom, when I could stop blaming the universe for that and realize that it's, hey man, this is something completely different. That's not an excuse, because guess what? I'm in prison right at the time. I'm like, man, I'm in prison. I found my mom dead when I was 13. What about those people that found their moms dead when they were kids and now they're holding $1 billion charity funds? What about those kids that have took that and used it as catalyst and now they're Rhodes Scholars and they're going to Harvard because, hey man, I'm doing this for my mom. So I had to stop using it as an excuse. But before I could do that, I had to forgive other people in my life. I had to forgive my daddy. Because whatever he did to me, he did it to me. But that is not why I did what I did in my life. I made bad choices because I made bad choices. I'm accountable for my choices. I didn't go out and get on drugs and do a jewelry heist for $100,000 because my dad was on crack. I did that shit because I went out and did a jewelry heist because I was a fucking trifling ass motherfucker. You know what I mean? I didn't treat women bad because my dad treated my mom bad or because my stepdad treated my mom and dad bad. Because I could have also saw those same things and used those as catalysts for me to say, no, I would never treat a lady like that the same way that I do now. But no, back then it's like, man, fuck it. I don't know no better. So I'm just gonna hold. I'm just gonna manipulate. I'm just gonna use because that's all I know. Well, that's a goddamn lie. There's some smoke coming out my oh. But yeah, man, it's just about understanding, man, and then realizing that I could go back and say, well, my dad triggered me in those situations, or I can say I allowed myself to be triggered. If somebody comes to my door right now and starts a fucking argument with me, are they out of line for starting to argue with me? Yes. But I'm more out of line for opening the fucking door. I didn't have to open the door. I opened the door and allowed that to happen to me. You feel me? So, you got a choice. It ain't about what triggers you. You need to stop thinking about what triggers you. And you need to start thinking about why you allow yourself to be triggered. Don't think about what triggers you. Think about why you even allow yourself to be triggered in the first place. Because if you can allow yourself to not be triggered, you ain't got no triggers. Like I said earlier, your emotions, your triggers, all that shit, whether it be events, whether it be people, is just like an ATM machine. A broken ATM machine, okay? If I could go up to this, if somebody tells me about they come and tell me on the cool, they say, hey man, I know this ATM machine. I know this ATM machine that if you go press the buttons, you press 333, money will shoot out of it. If you don't even have to put your card in it, bro. And there's already a tape on the camera, so they can't even see you, bro. Just go press the buttons and money's gonna shoot out. Look at all this money I got. And so you go to the ATM machine, you press the buttons, money shoots out. Money shoots out. What you gonna do naturally? What's your natural inclination? You're going to go back and press that button every time you can. Anytime you can. Just to get as much as you can out of it. You're going to press that button. 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 Until there comes a day that you go press that button and nothing comes out of there. And maybe it's empty. So you might go away and then you'll come back again a few days later. You're going to try it one more time. Nothing comes out of there. You try it another day after that. About the third time, you're going to be like, nah, I ain't fuck with that no more. Not only am I not getting nothing out of there, maybe they done found out that we're doing this, so I need to leave that alone. Like I was saying earlier. I'm just reiterating what I said earlier in case y'all missed it. Your emotions are the same way. People are going to press your buttons. You're going if events, if life is triggering you, if you're going through stuff that you're allowing to knock you off. Oh, I went through this, so I relapsed. Oh, I got triggered, so I showed out at work and I got fired. When this happens, when that happened, oh, I saw this girl and she reminded me of so and so, so I cheated. You know what I'm saying? When you doing all this shit that you saying triggered you, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because you should not even have triggers in the first place, because you should not be allowing yourself to be triggered. Because if you are allowing yourself to be triggered, then you are allowing something or someone or a situation to have power over you. Now you have no control. They run you. They run you. It's free money. It's free money. That doesn't mean that you can't allow yourself to feel. It's just to know that, hey man, I'm not gonna ever allow myself to be in situations that put me in negative scenarios. When I stopped doing that, my life has changed completely, man. When I was able to hold myself accountable right off the rip before anything else, it saved me a lot of bullshit in my interactions with people, in my situations with life. It's period. Because right in mid-conversation, I'm able to look at myself and be like, hold up, I'm tripping. And sometimes it's so crazy, it makes it seem like I'm bipolar, because we could be in mid-argument and I'll be like, hold up. It's just a, hold up. I take a step back and like, no, I'm wrong. Hold up. I'm wrong. And it might not even be that I'm wrong in the situation. I'm wrong for even allowing myself to even go there. Like, hold up. I'm wrong. First of all, this shit ain't even worth it. There's a saying I say to myself, which it's a sarcastic statement, but it's so relevant. Anytime I'm starting a trip with somebody, or I have to have a situation, I'll say, man, there's starving kids in Africa. Because that means whatever we're going through, man, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Like whatever we got going on, it ain't shit compared to what somebody else has got going on. Whatever conflict we have between each other, we should be able to take a step back and be like, all right, me and you, it's not for us right now. That'll save so many people some situations. If I could have did that last night, I wouldn't be dead now. It's about triggers. Both emotional ones and literal ones. Kane, I'm not saying that you don't need to deal with your life situations. I'm saying don't allow yourself to be triggered negatively. See, triggers and motivations are they're the same thing. They're the same thing. It's just about intent. It's just about intent, or the feeling that goes behind them. You're going to be triggered, you're going to be motivated. I mean, you have to remember that emotion rules reason. Emotional intelligence isn't something that can be taught in school, because unfortunately, like, pardon me, for people like myself with their sun in the ninth house, especially like a Cancer sun in the ninth house, like emotional intelligence comes from experiences. You get what I'm saying? Like from bumping my head, from going into things and having things go on in my life that have forced me to develop some emotional intelligence and some spiritual awareness, with that being in the ninth house. Because the ninth house is about experiences and spirituality. Okay? So for me, it's about going through emotionally. Everybody learns differently. You feel me? And that's what I'm doing here, right here with y'all. That's what I said my point is. I have learned through experiencing so many situations with people intimately how to be such a great teacher by being such a bad brother sometimes, being such a bad homeboy, being such a bad friend, being such a bad influence on people. Remember when I told y'all that, if I had an angel on my shoulder and I had a devil on my shoulder, I'm sorry, y'all, my ears itching like, ugh. If I had an angel on my shoulder and a devil on my shoulder, like my dad would be the devil. There's been a lot of situations in life where I have purposely, knowing I was in somebody's ear telling them something that wasn't good for them. And it's been over a decade since then. But I didn't care what was good for them. I was caring what was benefiting me. And so it's just about learning to do something different. You're going to be triggered. You're going to be motivated. I can't be triggered. I hope I am helping somebody today, but even if not, like, my love is the love that I have when it comes to this type of thing. The beautiful thing is I can't say it is unconditional, because with my Pisces moon, like, there's a lot that comes along with a Pisces moon that people, consider very negatively. But the truth of the matter is, I love everybody. I don't wish no bad on anybody. Like, I have no ill will towards anybody, even the people that have fucked me over. I don't wish no bad on them. If I told somebody something wrong, or if I manipulated somebody in some way, it was on some self-servient bullshit, some survival bullshit. But once again, that doesn't absolve me of responsibility for what I did. I'm still responsible from learning from that. I'm still responsible for learning from that. That shit look crazy, man. Hey, by the way, this leads me to let y'all know, for those of y'all that are still here, Wednesday, I have a reading to do that's going to take me most of the day, so I might not be able to come. So on tomorrow, we're going to do the usual hump day that we do on the hump day. Tomorrow we talk about relationships, we talk about intimacy, we talk about love, we talk about sex, we talk about infidelity, insecurity, drugs, sex, lies, videotape, all that deep shit, man. It's about that time, bro. I appreciate everybody that logged in today, by the way. Today I had to go live a little bit later. Tomorrow I'm going to go live at like, let's set the time for 9:30 my time, which will be 11:30 Eastern time. It would be 10:30 Central time and 8:30 Pacific time. Gonna probably have to go get this shit checked out. I'm not feeling the pulse. I'm live, but I don't know if I'm alive. But the thing is, energy never looks dead. Energy never dies. I said never looks dead. Energy never dies. Energy never dies. Shit. I feel like I'm still finer than a motherfucker. Motherfucker can't tell me shit. I got Venus in the 10th house. I got in Leo. So I feel like I'm still the one, man. Don't start what? Aware? Speak your piece. But yeah, man. Who is y'all? Who's naturally beautiful? It's a doozy. It's a doozy, man. How did y'all's Halloween go, man? We can go for about 20 more minutes. Do I have a celebrity crush? No. No. See, the thing is, like, I'm not impressed by nobody. We just vibing for a minute. I'm not impressed by nobody, so no. Who's your favorite? Who's your astrologer? Aware? But yeah, man. Shanti, you said, do I also look at the degrees a planet is in to tell more about a person? I can. The degrees are important, but I don't place as much emphasis as some. Hey, but yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. My neighbor's out there. But yeah, I don't have a celebrity crush. And the coming Taurus eclipse on the 19th. Do I have any advice for it? Yeah, I do. But that would spoil the video that I'm going to do about it. So you have to tune in for that. We'll talk about that in depth when that happens. Because the nodes will be changing around then also, which should be interesting. Chanel B, you got a celebrity crush? And if so, who is it? Kane, I got Jupiter in Pisces. I got Jupiter in 22 degrees of Pisces. But my North Node is in Aries in the 7th house. So yeah. That says a lot too. That's right. Elizabeth, it is the Day of the Dead. That's why I'm here. What's North Node in the 8th house? Arlo Gucci, North Node in the 8th house, it depends on the sign, but North Node in the 8th house just says that North Node in the 8th house really just says that you're gonna go through some really rough experiences in this life to come into your North Node. Like you learn the hard way. Like in the universe, you got too comfortable in last lives with North Node in the 8th house. So this time in life, you're gonna be forced to feel something, to be able to be vulnerable in this life with your North Node in the 8th house. Like for real, like you're gonna be forced to go through things in this life that it might be sexy, it might be powerful, but it's gonna make you be vulnerable. That's the thing that happens with that. Who is branded? Bruce. Yeah, man. That has to do with money and power right there, man. I was born on a waxing gibbous moon phase. I think I forgot. It might have been one of the other ones. I don't know. I forgot what moon phase I was born in. Chanel B. I'm not a celebrity, man. I like that though. Moonchild, you said you're nervous because your South Node in Scorpio is going to be in your 12th house. It's nothing to be nervous for. Just means that you really going to have to start thinking about some things that have been in the back of your mind. Like it's time to start dealing with them. Because that means that your North Node, it's about to start doing the work. Your North Node is in Taurus in the 6th house. You're actually going to come into some good times in your life. I don't. Nicole Sweet said, being a Pisces moon, do I have prophetic dreams or just is that just Pisces sun? No, but no, not necessarily. I have deja vu a lot, but I don't think I have prophetic dreams at all. No, my dreams are more outlets of my fears that are worked out in the back of my mind and the things that I'm worried about. Because most of the time, you know, my dreams revolve around things that I'm worried about in everyday life, and I end up seeing those scenarios play out in my head in my dreams. Now, for somebody to say that they were born on a full moon earlier, before I go any further, to be born on a full moon, that means that you get in your own way, first of all, and there's a conflict between what you need for your ego drives and what you need to feel comfortable emotionally. That's the thing with being born on a full moon. You're powerful, but you get in your own way of getting to it. But I'll tell you what about my Pisces moon, which is crazy. Apparently, I be all over the astral realm, because especially here recently, I have so many people tell me that I was in their dream. Like, hey man, you were in my dream. You know, people that I don't even fool with directly every day will be like, hey man, you were in my dream. Like, we were doing this and this and this, and it doesn't have to be anything, you know, nefarious or anything like that. And most of the time it isn't, and sometimes it is, but most of the time it's like, hey man, I had a dream about you. Like, you were in my dream. It was crazy, and this and this and this and this and this happened. And so apparently, and even people that I barely know that just watch my channel will hit me up sometimes in an email or in a comment and be like, hey man, you were in my dream, and this is what happened in my dream, and you were telling me this and this and this and this, and I'd be like, well, I wish I knew I was telling you that. You get what I'm saying? So that's quite interesting. What do y'all think about that? It's 111, baby. Do I lucid dream or do I astral travel? Nah. No. One of y'all's on that bullshit. What house is your moon in? Nino Domingo. Nino, you say you don't feel with your moon in Leo. At least you feel like you don't. I did read what you wrote. What house is the moon in? This is not a song, Maria Dunn. That's a beat. I didn't see you. What's not on here? Y'all got me confused in the motherfucking eye. Oh, 7th house Aries, containing your moon, which is also in Aries. Like, first of all, you're aggressive as hell. And a lot of times you think other people are like taking fucked up tones with you, but it's you. You know, it's you. With that moon in Aries in the 7th house, you're also attracted to aggressive people or so. Sometimes that can cause some issues. But more than anything else, like with that moon in Aries, like you're impatient and you're very direct. And you want the same from everybody else, but that's everybody else isn't like that. So that can cause problems. Chanel B, I've never traveled outside the U.S. other than Mexico. I've been to Mexico. Oh, Nino said, Nino Domingo said, I have Cancer on the 2nd and 3rd house cusp interception, and my moon is in Leo in the 3rd house. I want to know how the moon being in the 3rd in Cancer I don't feel like it does modify your Leo moon at all. I mean, you're just a Leo moon instead of a Cancer moon. Like you're a little more proud. It's a little less personal for you. You know, it's a little more universal. It's a little bit more about you than everybody else. See, the thing with the difference between Leo and Cancer is like Cancer loves the family. They give adoration. Leo accepts adoration from the Cancer. I'm saying, oh, it's at 0 degrees. My Mercury's at 0 degrees of Leo. And I feel that completely. I feel like a Mercury in Leo. Burn. I also communicate like a Leo through the realm of my emotions. You get what I'm saying? And it's in the 10th house, so that's a whole nother dynamic added to the mix. Burn. You might not feel like a Leo moon because there's other planetary placements and aspects within your personality that would affect that. I'd have to look at aspects to that Leo moon to know what's really going on with that. Oh, I heard them raking outside, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But they're raking right outside of my house. I'm like, what? Hey, I'm going for 12 more minutes, and then I gotta be done, y'all. You think you feel like a Gemini moon? Well, if your moon is in the 3rd house, you could definitely feel like a Gemini moon more. I mean, you could, it just that it plays out in the realm of communication for you. You're more of a cerebral person that, you know, you need attention, but you're also a leader. Is Sag moon compatible with an Aries moon? Absolutely. Sometimes. If y'all can get along, because Sag moon wants to preach and wants to talk all that shit, and Aries moon is gonna want to fight. So that could be a really passionate bond, a Sagittarius moon and an Aries moon, or it could also be a lot of conflict and a lot of arguments and a lot of bullshit. Nicole Sweet said, when the node is conjunct the sun and the moon, does it make it easier to tap into the north node energy? Yeah, but I just say really it makes you comfortable with yourself enough to be powerful enough to see what and to have clear direction towards where the north node wants you to go more than anything else. Aries, Moon, Libra, rising. That says that you seem like a really cool person, but you really an asshole. And you know how to press people's buttons. And sometimes you have a way of speaking with that Aries moon and that Libra rising. You have a way of speaking or a way of doing things that just agitates people when that's not what you meant to do. Yes, I believe in Chinese astrology, Chanel B. There it is right there. That's a tiger. I'm a tiger. Mr. Nobody. I'm a fire tiger, to be exact. I'm 1986, homie. God damn, you're a rat, Kane? Don't let me trigger you. No, I'm just playing, right? Nino Domingo. What was I for Halloween? Well, for Halloween, I had more bullet holes. What I had was more bullet holes. I was right here, and I gave out full candy bars. And I was called The Only Way Out. I had my own name for my costume. It was called The Only Way Out. It's basically like I killed myself sitting right here. It was pretty dark. So, what are tigers like? Tigers are passionate. Tigers are loners. Tigers are, hardworking. But tigers are also fierce. Tigers are also competitive. Tigers are also argumentative. Tigers are also, they want to go their own way a little too much. Tigers are also sensitive. Extremely sensitive, empathetic, intuitive, but also tigers tend to attack people who would be there for them in true tiger fashion. Tigers tend to make enemies out of people who would otherwise be their alliances. Or their allies, pardon me. That's the thing about tigers. But, there's all that. What does it mean to have a planet or a node on the cusp of two houses, if that makes sense? It's not on the cusp of two houses. It's either 0 degrees of one sign or 29 degrees of the other sign. There is no in between. We got 5 more minutes, man. On the cusp of 2 houses, I mean, it's got to be in one house or the other. I mean, that's the cusp of that house is. Now, if it's exactly on the cusp of that house, then that can mean a lot. That means that you really need to pay attention to both of those energies that come along with that and see how that plays out and see what if there's causing a conflict within your nature with that right there. Shay, by the way, if any of y'all, if you're looking for any natal chart interpretation, all you gotta do is hit me up in my email at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Says, how do I think astrology? Asia Jones said, how do I think astrology plays into reincarnation? Do I feel like certain placements stay with the same throughout certain lives? I think looking at your South Node, looking at your 12th house are going to say a lot about, you know, what you had going on in previous lives and maybe even what you had going on in between. But, you know, as for carrying certain placements with you into certain lives, maybe just with that South Node, that's the only thing that I really would look at and think that maybe you might have brought that with you. And I also feel like you can look at the moon sign and tell, you know, pretty much just how old a soul is right there. You get what I'm saying? Because basically, like, the Pisces moon, for my opinion, and my opinion is not the be all end all, okay? Because even my opinion can be evolved or changed. But in my opinion, the Pisces moon, and it's not just because I'm a Pisces moon, is the oldest soul. You know what I'm saying? And you can see the way that they conduct themselves when they're little kids and the things they go through and the heavy burden they carry and why they can't live in this world anymore because they don't want to. They don't want to. The thing about Pisces moon, they're not present. They have a hard time being present and all this shit because they don't want to be present. They don't want to be present. So when you and I mean, that's just kind of how it is because they're ready to go to somewhere else. It's time to get into another realm. I live in my imagination because I'm tired of doing this shit. Now, with with Cancer moon at 29 degrees, I mean that's just a full load of that Cancer moon. You are everything that a Cancer moon is, both good for the good and for the bad. You're extremely emotional. You're in tune. You're nurturing. Like, you got it, man. So Shay, man. Also, for those of y'all that fuck with me, you know, just so we know, the super chats is cool and shit. Nobody really hit it today, but for me personally, in particular, I don't prefer the super chat because I don't want YouTube to get their cut. I don't care. You can hit me up if you're trying to donate to my cause at my Cash App, which is in the link in the description. All right, or my PayPal, because yeah. This concludes our little session for today. I love all y'all, and I appreciate you so much. But I got some other things that I got to tend to. We out.